Welcome, friends, to our Fourth Universalist service video. My name is Reverend Schuyler Vogel. I serve as the senior pastor here at the congregation, and thank you so much for watching this. What follows is a selection from our May 9th service, themes around Mother's Day, parenting, and family. In this video, you'll hear the reading and my reflection, and then we hope you'll stick around for a conversation around parenting and family and mothering between me and our Director of Religious Education, Ember Kelly. It should be a good chat. You're invited to check out this video and our audio podcast each week to recap our services, posted on the website, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and whatever your favorite podcast streaming site is. Now, if you like what you see, we hope you will give us a positive review, a like, comment, share, help spread the word of Fourth Universalist a little further. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoy.
This morning's poem is by D. Nursky, an Estonian-born American poet who has been named the Poet Laureate of Brooklyn. His free verse lyric poems explore subjects both intimate and political: children, families, love, and the effects of war. The poem we read today is entitled Only Child and reflects on the special relationship of parent and child. I cradled my newborn daughter and felt the heartbeat pull me out of shock. She didn't know what her hands were. She folded them. I asked her, was there a place where there was no world? She didn't know what a voice was. Her lips were the shape of a nipple. In the park, the child says, "Watch me. It will not count unless you see." And she shows me the cartwheel, the skip, the tumble, the tricks performed at leisure in midair, each unknown until it is finished. At home, she orders, "See me eat." I watch her curl on herself, sleep. As I try to leave the dark room, her dreaming voice commands me, "Watch." Always we passed the seesaw on the way to the swings, but tonight I remember the principle of the lever. I sit the child at one end, I sit near the center, the fulcrum. At once she has power to lift me off the earth and keep me suspended by her tiny weight, she laughing, I stunned at the power of the formula.
A few weeks ago, I had my first solo adventure with our new baby. Like many new parents, we found there is nothing that baby Rowan likes more than rolling around in the stroller. In the early days, no matter what he was feeling, no matter how bumpy the ride, you put him in that stroller and he felt instantly asleep and was content. Now, on this particular day, there was a big sale at the local bookstore, 20% off of everything. And as two big readers, my wife and I had to go. Having no alternatives, Rowan came along. We weren't quite comfortable yet bringing him into the crowded interior space. They don't have infant masks yet, as cute as those might be. So we decided that Kristen would go shop for books and I would go take Rowan. Now, this bookstore happens to be a block away from one of the great religious landmarks in New York City, the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. By some measures, it is the largest church in the Americas, the sixth largest in the world. It is massive. Now, not knowing how long my wife would be looking at books, I decided to go. I hadn't been there since the pandemic began and thought it would be fun to pal around with Rowan in such a beautiful space. The first challenge upon rolling on up was immediately transparent. There was no ramp for strollers at the front entrance. So I steeled myself and picked the stroller up with Rowan in it and carried it over 2 flights of stairs, feeling a bit silly as people watched. We arrived at the doors, which were narrow and not automatic. So I struggled again to get them open and then push the stroller through, and so much so that the attendant had to intervene to help. Rowan seemed only loosely aware and continued to sleep. I started to wonder a bit whether I was being unreasonable. Did people not bring babies here? Was all this effort a sign that I should be content just rolling him around outside and not taking him in? But once I got him actually in the door to the checkout, the beauty of the cathedral was temporarily distracting. If you have never been inside, you should do it. Get the chance. That cathedral has few rivals in its size and artistry. It makes Fourth Universalist look like a humble country church. As we entered, we were confronted with towering ceilings, colorful stained glass, vibrant with light, and massively tall pillars. If you go further in, the cathedral changes and you reach a part that remains unfinished. Contrasting sharply with the refined stone and glass near the entrance, this part is dark and ruinous and has an ancient quality. In the front, you feel your heart lifted up to the heavens, but further in, it burrows into a deep, unformed, dreamlike space. Around it all are a series of chapels where individuals and small groups can find intimacy among all the grandness. Beyond the physical beauty, upon entering the cathedral, you are also struck by the silence. If you have ever been to New York, you know it is loud, but the great stone walls quiet the noise. It is a refuge, a profound opportunity for reflection and stillness, a chance just to sit and be at peace in one of the most beautiful spaces in the city, undisturbed by anything. At least it is normally, had Rowan, upon immediately rolling in, not started wailing. I was taken immediately by surprise. He had never been upset while in his stroller. Was indisturbable. It was what solved whatever baby rage was previously unsolvable. And yet, here he was. I tried to comfort him, although I was distracted because I, or really Rowan, had gained the attention of the other people who were there, who were presumably there to appreciate the quiet grandeur of the space, not to hear a 5-week-old baby crying at the top of his lungs, echoing throughout this grand sanctuary. So we scrambled, finding the closest set of chairs to us. Maybe he was hungry and he could eat, so I pulled out his bottle. I gave it to him, and then I found out way too late that the top of that bottle was not attached properly. So suddenly I and Rowan and the floor and our stroller were all wet. I took a deep breath and tried to regain my composure. Sitting there, struggling with him and the bottle and everything else, while the eyes of others were on us, I felt sheepish and embarrassed. We had just arrived and immediately created a scene. I imagined getting berated by cathedral staff or other visitors for the audacity of bringing in an unpredictable baby. I tried to find myself playing through different retorts to those chides and wishing that I had memorized more scripture passages about children being blessed to defend my right to be there. Eventually, Rowan settled down. Thank God. He ate what was left in that bottle and relaxed. But the imagery stuck with me of a little baby in a grand cathedral. Family, it seems, I am coming to learn, dwells in this contrast between the cathedral, this grandness, and a tiny, small child, between experiencing the world as big and also small, grand but also subtle, as opening up and closing in, between what the world tells you matters, it's flashy and shiny, and what really truly does. Family, like the cathedral and like Rowan that day, is an experience that offers access both to the infinite and also the finite. A chance to open ourselves to the biggest and most impressive wonders of the world. The possibilities of human spirit made real in stone and light and faith, but also in the littlest, the humblest, the most innocent, made flesh in the cries and soothing of a child and their father. Expanding up, you become the steward of a new life. Your family grows. You begin a relationship that will hopefully last a lifetime. You learn to see life with new eyes. New relationships with our parents widen our world. Suddenly, there is so much more to pay attention to. But at the same time, parenting is grounding. It pulls us inward. We stay home more. We focus more on family. We celebrate small accomplishments, not grand ones, small ones like a healthy diaper or an extra hour of sleep that is too long in coming. I love the words found in the children's book called Old Turtle, Questions of the Heart by Douglas Wood. In it, family is described as the world made small enough to hold. It is big and little, all at the same time, opening up and looking inwards. The gift of parenthood and of family is that through our relationships with those we love, we gain access to the greatest wonders of the world. Through one another, all is possible. So often our society promises that we can find happiness, wholeness, and the great meaning out there somewhere. But in family, we find the world distilled, the great possibilities of the human heart and its fulfillment embodied right within our humble home. This is true for all human relationships that are life-giving. For mothers or fathers or children, grandparents, close friends. Through one another, we access the universe and all the gifts it offers. Before we left the cathedral that day, Rowan and I sat down again together. He was calmed. He rested peacefully in my arms, looking up at me and the cathedral around him, trying to understand as best as he could and take in this strange new place. And I sat there, calm again myself, taking in his warmth and the tranquility of that sacred space, glad to be sharing it with him. In our first solo adventure together, in our effort to calm and rest and relax and feed, we had a tender back and forth of parent and child. Our worlds both expanded in the vastness of the cathedral and shrank down to just two of us, touching the infinite wonder of that space and the intimate, humble concern of a little one needing to feel happy and well. The sacred cathedral, I would like to believe, understood that simple truth, that the beauty of a child, the humble beauty, and the tenderness of a family shines as true and lovely as the finest and grandest church. We, human beings, need both. The chance to be small in the universe, but also blessed by each other. Each of us a baby dwarfed by a grand cathedral. Each of us a parent. Each of us in a relationship with one another amidst the vastness of a world made real by our love. So may we cherish this blessing, that through each of us in our relationships, the world is made small enough to hold. That is where the beauty is. No matter how much crying and spilling is involved along the way. May it be so for all of us. Amen.
Reverend Schuyler, it's really great to get to sit down with you to reflect a little bit on parenting on this Mother's Day Sunday.
Yeah, well, as you know, Ember, I'm a new parent. Rowan reached 6 weeks as of an hour ago, an hour and 10 minutes ago. Exactly, actually, I think. No, maybe 20 minutes. So I'm new. I'm in the thick of it. We're learning a lot. A little bit more sleep deprived than normal, but yeah, it's fun to celebrate very first Mother's Day with my wife too, and it's a new experience for us and good. Yeah.
It is definitely a new parent thing to have calculated down to the hour what week your new baby is at. That is a new parent experience. I think I remember doing the same thing.
There's all these books and websites and apps about like, oh, in the 6th week, this is what happens. Apparently, it's one of the worst weeks. But also it's all better from here. Their internal like clock sort of starts forming, and they're less fussy. So we're excited for that.
Well, you mentioned in the message like the small victories that parents have, like one more hour of sleep. So I have to ask, how is the new parent a lack of sleep experience for you?
Yeah, this week it's been a bit like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. He's not at all sleeping through the night. But there was a night a couple nights ago where he only woke up once in the night, which was great. Nothing ever like that had ever happened before. And then of course the next night it was a disaster. So, we celebrate what we can. We take night shifts. So I get one night and Kristen gets the next night, and try to do it so our schedules gets kind of aligned when we have big things in our life to do. So overall it's a good system, and he's a good happy baby. He never cries without a reason, which is really good. So we can always identify what the issue is. Diaper, gas, hunger, whatever. So it's never just like constant upsetness.
Yes, gosh, I remember that refreshed one night of good sleep feeling. That feels familiar. So obviously, as you write a reflection on a Sunday, you have to cut down things. You have to leave out stories, leave out special moments, and keep things focused. And so half the reason that we created this extra reflection time was to dive a little bit deeper. So are there any special parenting moments of these first 6 weeks that have really been a big highlight for you, outside of the one that you also shared for the reflection?
Yeah. We really enjoyed taking him on walks, going into the Central Park and rolling him along in the stroller. That's a real joy. It's been fun having him meet the few people that he has. During the pandemic, we're pretty isolated, insulated, and my wife's mother was here for a number of weeks, and my mom's coming this Monday, tomorrow, so that'll be fun too. And just seeing him grow and kind of having these little developmental steps. He rolled really early. He rolled like within the first few weeks, from his stomach to his back, which was a big step. And he continues to do it. And he's starting to lift his head up and actually kind of like brace and look around and be able to make eye contact is really big, and sometimes smile and laugh. So it's cool. It's cool. You can see his little being coming into formation here.
So, if we're going to take things more theological, since we are, reflecting on a sermon, I think that there's, as a parent as well, like there is some uniqueness, if you let it, in that experience of having a whole other person. Like it's this whole new person who you have no control over. I think about my oldest, Jude. This morning, he woke up. He's 7, going on 8, and later this year. And he was sitting around reading a book while I made breakfast. And I said, "Oh, Jude, do you know what day it is? It's Mother's Day." And his immediate response was, "Does that mean that Mama gets to pick out everything that we do today?" And you just never know what to expect. Like here, I'm thinking like, okay, he's gonna wish me Happy Mother's Day. He'll give Beck a big hug when he sees her in the morning. But no, does that mean I don't get to pick what we're doing? You just don't have control over kids. It's this experience of of the other. You and I have been reflecting on that theologically in other contexts.
Mhm. Yeah, you have this person that has really come from you uh, in a way, and so you feel this ownership over it, or this sense of like, I created you. It was our decision to bring it into the world, bring you into the world. Like, everything. They live dependent upon parents, and yet they don't care about any of that, right? They have their own needs, their own personality, and that's, I'm sure, only more true as they get older, when they can actually tell you what they think about what you are doing and who you are. Yeah, and so you have to. I imagine it's a real struggle to both sort of take pride in a baby and also sort of learn to not be possessive of it as somebody who's developing their own personality and trying to support and nurture that. So do you have Mother's Day plans, Ember, yourself?
Work, is my main Mother's Day plan. We had a little bit of some celebration yesterday just because we knew that I'd be busy today. The negative of being at a church is that unless you intentionally plan for a Sunday off, then you're going to be busy. And so yesterday we went to a bookstore. We ordered some Egyptian food that was just from around the corner, and that was delicious. So we got some new books, and then a few weeks ago, Beck and I had decided to purchase each other Fjallravens backpacks as our Mother's Day present for each other, and so we did get those in time, luckily, and we walked around with them yesterday as part of our celebration. And so we're planning like a nice lunch today, and I think we might do something as adventurous as go out to 7-Eleven. And we're gonna. I think Jude's words ring true that her and I get to choose what we're going to do today, and a little bit less so that the kids get to choose what to do today. And I mean, gosh, that's a weird thing, having come from Vietnam, and really most other countries have like all these other multitude of days. Because I remember as a kid growing up, you always ask, "Is there a Kids Day?" And the parent response was, Kids Day is every day. But in a lot of other, like literally most other countries, there is like International Children's Day, there is Women's Day, there's Workers' Day, there's all these other days. It's a little bit strange, being back in this dynamic where it's pretty much like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and like that's the very limited holiday experience of the United States is a little bit strange to be back in.
Yeah, I suspect that's a consequence of, in some ways, such a diverse and multi-religious society that we have here, that we're not unified by religious holidays and by a sense of unity or culture. And so it's hard to, I don't know, I think if you're a Catholic, you have saints' days and feast days. And, if you're pagan, you have, the eight wheels, the, 8 marks of the wheel. And there's always another holiday coming up. We just passed Beltane, which is a beautiful thing, right? That you can always look forward to something, but we're not really good about rituals and holidays. I think we kind of clustered all in one big clump, and then like the rest of everything is kind of very banal.
Right. But I was going to say that in Unitarian Universalism, you have the holiday of the pastor's break over the summer, and I think that both you and I are looking forward to a little downtime, especially as a new parent. I know how precious that like downtime can be.
Yeah, rest and recharge. It's important. Everyone should get that. I mean, I'm looking at, as you know, like family leave, right? 12 weeks, pretty generous in New York State. And of course, in other places like Europe, it's paltry. But in the US, it feels like a ton. I feel very grateful for that, this idea of the rest and relaxation, and be able to take time and really enjoy one's life that's not just driven by the need to make money or to work.
So as we close, are there any moms in your life that you might want to say something special to as we close out the video?
Yeah, this is the first time I've had 2 mothers in my life that are, important. Obviously, my mom, who I'm excited to see tomorrow in person, I haven't seen since July, and who has been joining us for our services online ever since we've gone. So I love her and appreciate her and excited for that. And then, of course, my wife, who is a new mother for the very first time this Mother's Day. So Kristen's been doing a great job. She's, really loves this little fellow. And we had a nice breakfast, pancakes this morning, and we're gonna order some good food. And we did some unwrapping of gifts already today. And there's another one that just came in the mail in the lick of time. So that's good. So we're excited. We're gonna have a good day, I think.
So I think it sounds wonderful. I am already thinking of a Fourth Universalist branded onesie that says "Little Fellow" on it. I think that Rowan needs a shirt from Fourth Universalist that says
I'm
Little
all
Fellow.
for the branded stuff. I want, we can have branded onesies. I want branded masks. Maybe we can give them out if people come back in September, with the Fourth U logo on them, So I just did a wedding a couple weeks ago, and they had like wedding masks, and they're really beautiful masks. And we could work with them. They could, I'm sure, make a really nice one for us. So something to think about for us.
Yes, dreaming big for the future there. Schuyler, thanks so much for sitting down today and chatting with me.
Thanks, Amber. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks.